Welcome to Suggestions Box. My name is KarQ. If you've never been here before, welcome. This is the series where people type suggestions they want, and then I review whether I like it, don't like it, or maybe we need to cook on it a little bit more. Get it a little nice and crispy and medium rare. Here we go. Suggestion: make the play of the games team-based instead of player-based. With that, I mean we get to see the play of the games in a bigger picture, maybe in a cinematic kind of way. So let's say Mercy versus Genji, Sombra EMPs, and Ryan shatters their whole team. Anna nanos a Genji, and Genji then proceeds to have a 5K. That way, everyone gets more of a feeling they contributed to something. Highlight intros could be split on a screen with all the contributing heroes too, so everyone gets to see their intros more. I'm not sure how this would work on the back end. Like, the play of the game algorithm is just kind of based on the weighting on how they assign what an action and how much it's worth. Like, rezzing someone and like killing an enemy right before they ult or during an ultimate is weighted higher than others. Hard to say. I think a better way would be like if you were to watch your play of the game afterwards, maybe there's an option to toggle the POV of your teammates, but having a big team fight and like the way it kind of goes is subjective. You can have multiple different 5Ks, but one is a lot more glamorous than others. And I think keeping it individual is fine the way it is, but maybe the opt-in option to kind of see what your teammates did in that moment. So I'm going to say no. I kind of like their play of the game algorithm, so much so that apparently Blizzard has a patent for their play of the game stuff. Apparently that's real. Suggestion: make the tree of life boop a little on each pulse. Very temporary speed boost after being life gripped as well, so the one being life gripped can get their bearings after being pulled somewhere unfamiliar from a second ago. I think the design of Tree of Life being a defensive tree and healing pulse is fine the way it is, though that being said, the temporary speed boost after being life gripped actually seems like a pretty decent suggestion. Getting your bearings and getting reoriented, very minor, probably like a 1 second boost, kind of reorient. Not a terrible idea. I kind of like that one, but not the first one, so I'm not sure whether to give you a check mark or a question mark. So no to the first, yes to the second. We'll give you the blue question mark in the middle. Suggestion: allow players to create their own maps and courses using the hero mastery assets and resources. Allow custom courses to have their own leaderboards, and allow custom games to use custom maps with map import codes. I mean, this is a no-brainer. I think having players be able to use assets, whether in the workshop or whatever, would be a fantastic way to build community and bring people together and have a whole new set of players who literally love custom games. Being able to access, you know, those hero mastery assets, resources, and all the PvE heroes like that, you know, that stalker with that like the Widowmaker thingy that like grabs you in all the missions and all their little AI and bots and stuff. Being able to do that, people can probably develop some really cool internal things. So yeah, easy yes. Suggestion: show damage and heal numbers for characters in the training range. Have player specific traits available in the pause menu. For example, Pharah can reload slightly faster with an empty clip than with ammo left. This would make the game more beginner friendly and less off-putting to others that are coming from different shooters. I mean, I've lobbied for this for so damn long. Like an option to toggle the extra damage and heal numbers in a separate advanced stat screen that you can click to see, like, you know, fall off range. I'm not sure about like small tech like Pharah reloading faster needs to be added. That can be like player discovered things, but definitely heal damage numbers, fall off range, explosion radius, things like that. Yeah. Suggestion: support should be able to hear low HP gasps from nearby teammates, kind of like a subtle automatic X press key press to get their attention. What is this, Dead by Daylight? When someone's bleeding, they're like, I think it's a little too distracting. I think having like their icon already show that they need healing is already pretty good. I think somebody suggested that last week, and last week we talked about the party frames, which are already built into the game in PvE, where as a support you can see everyone's HP bars on the bottom left. Just add that and I think that's fine. So this one, I don't know if I need any more sounds and visual, not visual clutter, visual audio clutter, for example. Too many sounds is a little too much. I think it's in a decent spot where that is, but just a small UI element would not be as intrusive, in my opinion. Suggestion: let us see the other team's picks before the start of a match. That way nobody gets hard countered out of the gate. Once teams decide on a 1-minute timer who they will play, then you can form a strategy around who you'd be picking. Helps with counter swapping, in my opinion. So you're basically kind of going with like a 1-minute timer where everyone just kind of just back and forth. They tease, they pick this, and they go back. I don't think this works for the game like this, where like, oh, I pick Winston, then they pick Zarya, then oh you pick Zarya and then I pick this. You're kind of just going to be going back and forth doing this until the last second timer. So it ends up being kind of a not a great implementation because nobody will lock in their pick until the absolute, like, before the 3, 2, 1, then they quickly pick to not give them a chance to counter, but then it kind of locks you in until that one hero choice, and it just kind of feels annoying that you just kind of waste a minute sitting there where everyone just picks in the last minute anyways, or the person who doesn't end up clicking right away ends up not picking anything, and then what happens when nobody picks a hero? It randomizes one for you or something and it locks you in. Nah, I don't think this is the way we go for this. Suggestion: souvenirs should drop to the ground after the emote and be kickable or shootable. Not sure how easy it'd be to implement, basically just treat them all like basketball. It adds just a touch more interactability and fun to make them less useless. No, I don't think adding more droppable cosmetics in the middle of a competitive shooter is a good idea, to be honest with you. Like, the basketballs are in the spawn, they very rarely make it to the battlefield, and there are some like interesting techs where you grab the basketball by punching it from spawn all the way to like the thing, and it does some weird mechanic janky thing. But like, having that cosmetic drop to the ground can be pretty deceiving and could actually, like, I don't know. I don't think that belongs in a competitive shooter. It's just a cosmetic. Souvenirs are kind of useless. They take too long to pull out. I think my suggestion for souvenirs was, like, you flash it over your head when you press it instead of, like, pressing souvenir. Then you got to go, like, and then you hand it out like this. Like, it just takes too long. Have the souvenir just be something you flash over your head pre-game, and when the game starts, you can't do it anymore. Kind of like where people just love emoting and pressing things in the pre-game area for other games. Like, I know in Valorant people have their knives and they always like slash the barrier. So in the pregame in an attack and defense mode, everybody flashes their pineapple pizza souvenir or their Winton souvenir as a thing at the beginning. But no for dropping souvenirs. Suggestion: you should be required to take a test on the Blizzard website to go to the next rank after plat. Meaning if you win your rank up game, it'll say something like complete a test on a website to claim your rank, or something along those lines. Just because of the way Overwatch is as a game where positioning and understanding abilities is such a crucial part of the game, where not knowing basic things such as understanding escape routes with different characters or different playstyles of comps and in general is crucial to the game. At least compared to Valorant, which is similar in the sense that it's a shooter with abilities, but you can steamroll lobbies 1v9 simply with aiming mechanics alone in almost if not all ranks. Overwatch is not like that. There needs to be some base level understanding of all the characters and interactions there are, and a lot of changing variables due to different comps. That's a lot to take in, but when I queue for comp and I'm in a certain rank, Diamond for example, I just started playing a month and a half ago, I expect people I queue with to have Diamond level knowledge of the game. People shouldn't be able to climb to those ranks and not understand the basic concepts of the game. What? Suggestion: Reaper should have an ability to create a shadow clone of himself. If the shadow clone runs into someone, they get inflicted with a damage over time status similar to Widowmaker's Venom Mine. The shadow clone of the Reaper would hard aggro on an enemy. An ability like this would make Reaper's kit feel less bland and add more variety to him. The first thing I thought of was Yoru from Valorant, but you're telling me if the shadow clone you just cast will just start shooting for free up close? That seems absolutely infuriating to play against. Maybe just a decoy is fine, but the fact that it would hard aggro and shoot you and damage you, that is gonna be the most annoying thing ever. No. It's a no from me, my friend. I don't know if this would be a good or bad suggestion or has already been said, but think back with me to those halcyon days of playing Winter Wonderland. The Yeti Hunter mode had 6-player lobbies where players would mostly queue for Mei, but I believe the role selection screen said prefer Hunter, indicating that there could be a chance you'd end up being the Yeti. You could bring this prefer state of mind to be a viable queuing option for 6v6 to alleviate the tank role maybe. Players would select prefer DPS or support with the understanding that they may have to flex a tank to fill the gap. I actually have not heard this suggestion, or maybe I have in a different iteration, but I actually don't mind this. I think in League they kind of have this concept where you have your primary role, but your secondary role is your backup. Probably has a lower weighting in the matchmaking algorithm, but you can fill. So like, you know, you want to play mid lane, but then your secondary is jungler, but it'll primarily try to get you in a game there. That could help with some queue issues. I'm pretty sure they probably thought of something like this. There's no way this has not gone through like some form of brainstorm at some point. Maybe there's some technical limitations, or maybe that's something they're already working on, but could be okay. Sure. Suggestion: the devs said that they're going to have a season of map reworks. Well, why not have a season of Mythic reworks? The Mythic skins for Hanzo and Orisa are hated because they don't have much customization. So they could have a season where they just add some additional customizations to them. For Hanzo, they could let us change the armor and cloths and add a new color or weapon. For Orisa, they could let us change the supercharger and horn tail combo. I already love both Mythics, and it's a shame their customization is what holds it back from others just liking the Mythic. You know, if they spent a season instead of releasing a new Mythic where they just update old stuff and quality that wasn't good, that's going to have more negative public opinion and repercussions and just continuing to iterate and making skins better as you go along instead of backtracking. I think it could be nice to backtrack and maybe do a revamped version of it with a fresher color scheme and a new update in the future seasons once you complete the new ones. Imagine waiting a new season for a new Mythic and then they just update old projects that did not make the cut. Like, you already kind of messed up on those two. You kind of just have to let bygones be bygones and move on and make sure your new Mythics are always upping the quality and upping the standard each time. Unfortunately, that's not the case, but I don't think they need to retroactively go back right now. Suggestion: I'd love to see Roadhog's old way of healing back with his current way too, where you double tap the heal button for his old way and be stuck in the animation until you're out of vape or get CC'd. I may be biased since I'm a Roadhog main, but it should definitely be tried. If it's too much, we can always revert with how quick the dev team is nowadays with hotfix patches. Why would you want to do that though? If it heals the same, you could just, instead of doing that, you could just sit there and just heal then. Unless you're saying if you take the chance to stand still to heal a higher amount, then that could be a little bit different. But if you heal the same amount in both cases, it's always better to continue to be moving instead of being a sitting duck. It's like, why would you ever want to do that? The reason why they made it the new way of healing where you're allowed to move for vape is because Roadhog was so bad when he did his damage rotation in Overwatch 1 or whatever, and then he's like, shit, I gotta heal, and he just has to sit there and doesn't move. It was like the easiest sleep dart, easiest nade of all time as an auto player, and that's why the game evolved and they gave him movement on that, and that's why the Genji gets to cancel his deflect, or Wraith form for Reaper is cancelable because like people got better, and those things are just kind of old abilities that just don't make sense in the modern game at all. But yeah, no. Suggestion: you can make Sombra's footsteps louder. Would be a lot easier countering her. You could maybe even buff her if that's the case. I mean, kind of defeats the hero fantasy of being a stealth hero and having the fucking, like, wearing high heels like Widowmaker clacking around as a stealth. By nature, like, if you're stealth, why would you want to be loud anyways, right? And I get it from a competitive standpoint because you're annoyed at playing against a Sombra, but I don't think making Sombra's footsteps louder is gonna change much. I mean, it's kind of defeats the fantasy, and like in the hectic scene of the battle where a bunch of abilities and things are being flown out, like I don't really think you're gonna hear it unless they sound like Widowmaker's heals. You could probably just tune Sombra in other ways. I don't really like this one. Suggestion: you can now add a speed boost out of spawn doors on the bot push maps, only on the first spawn or main spawn area when teams haven't or aren't at the halfway area checkpoint. With a slight change on its power or how long it lasts, it could work. You know, obviously they've added it for Flashpoint now with the speed boost out of spawn, and I like it, and I think most people do. It does help you get back to the fight a little bit quicker, and I don't hate it for push. I think maybe only if you're on the losing side, or if I think maybe if the bot is pushed against you, the team that's pushed against has a speed boost naturally so that they can get back to the fight faster, because one of the biggest arguments for people why they don't enjoy push is because if a team makes 50 meters progress and the other team's at 0, they have to make up those 50, the bot has to walk those 50 meters back to neutral before you even start making progress. So you're losing like a portion of time. It feels pretty uneven, and it's very snowbally where the team that gets the first push generally will win the game in the most part, at least anecdotally. Maybe the stats don't align on Blizzard, which is why they haven't tweaked it, but if not, then this could be something to add to help give the team that's getting like their shit kicked in a small advantage to start pushing back a little bit. I do think the wave respawn in season 12 has helped a lot to help mitigate this slightly, but yeah, maybe a speed boost on a push would be a way to make it more enjoyable. I don't hate this idea. I'd have to hear from how the balance team is looking at it to see if it's viable. Suggestion: make Moira's right click, like the suck, do less damage the further away the target is. So a fall off beam? Since she can have her crosshair off the enemy and still hit them, it would reward better aim and be less annoying for high mobility characters like Genji and Lucio. No, I don't think beams, like any beams, like Echo Beam, Zarya Beam, Sim Beam should have any fall off damage. I think if you wanted to nerf Moira Suck, you just have the hitbox less forgiving, because right now it's very big. So like you're saying, it hits them when you're not really truly aiming over their head. That's because the hitbox of the ability itself is incredibly large. It actually used to be even larger and more egregious, and they shrunk it quite a bit back then. I don't think people are complaining about it right now, so I think it's fine the way it is. But like if you wanted to, you just dial that knob, not make it have retroactive fall off range, because it won't feel as intuitive for the Moira player. It feels a little weird playing against it. It's like, oh, I'm probably gonna die this Moira. Wait, maybe I'm not. It's like, just make the hitbox smaller for it, and it still does the job where it rewards them for better aim. I think that's it for the suggestions. Thanks for suggesting this week. Suggest some more and we'll take a look, and if it doesn't get answered, maybe we'll keep them and we continue cycling until we eventually get to them, if they're good suggestions, of course, or really bad ones. Anyways, peace.